Hello everyone. In this video we will see C++ OOP, okay, object oriented programming. Object oriented programming is about creating objects which can hold data and functions that work on the data. Advantages of OOP. OOP provides a clear structure to programs, makes code easier to maintain, reuse and debug, helps keep your code dry, don't repeat yourself, makes it possible to create full reusable applications with less code and shorter development time. Tip: the right principle means you should avoid writing the same code more than once. Uh, কি বাবা? বই. Okay, what are classes and objects? Classes and objects are two main aspects of object-oriented programming. A class defines what an object should look like, and an object is created based on that class. For example, a class object fruit, apple, banana, mango, car, Volvo, Audi, Toyota. Okay, when you create an object from a class, it inherits all the variables and functions defined inside that class, right? When you create an object from a class, it inherits all the variables and functions defined inside their class. In the next chapter, you will learn how to define a class, create objects, access class members, and much more, right? Procedural versus object-oriented programming. Procedural programming is about writing functions that operate on data. Object-oriented programming is about creating objects that contain both the data and the functions. In procedural programming, the code is organized around functions. In object-oriented programming, the code is organized around objects. Okay. Exercise: drag and drop the missing word. The try principle in the program: don't repeat yourself. What does OOP stand for in C++? Object-oriented programming. Drag and drop the correct term. In an object-oriented example, Volvo is an object of the cars. Okay, what is the key advantage of object-oriented over procedural programming? Object allows use to global variables more effectively. Organize codes and procedures without data. Object provides a clear structure and allows reusability with less code or limits. Okay. Let's see. Consider the following class and objects. Class fruit objects: apple, banana, mango. Okay, which of the following best describes the relationship between fruit and apple? Fruit is an object of the class apple. Apple is an instance of the class fruit. Fruit and apple are apple is an instance of the class fruit. Fruit is an object of the class apple. So maybe this one is the answer. What is the purpose of a dry principle in programming? To remove all functions from code, to repeat code for clarity, to reduce code repetition and centralize reusable code. This is the answer, right? And the next one is true or false. In OOP, classes provide a template for creating objects. Class provide template for creating objects. True. Okay. C++ classes and objects. C++ classes object. C++ is an object-oriented programming language, right? Everything in C++ is associated with classes and objects, along with its attributes and methods. For example, in real life, a car is an object. The car has attributes such as weight and color, and methods such as drive and brake. Attributes and methods are basically variables and functions that belongs to the class. These are often referred to as class members. A class is user-defined data type that we can use in program, and it works as an object constructor or a blueprint for creating objects. Okay, create a class. To create a class, use class keyword. So create a class called myClass. Class myClass public integer my number string my string. Okay, example explained. The class keyword is used to create a class called myClass. The public keyword is an access specifier, which specifies that members, attributes, and methods of the class are accessible from outside the class. You will learn more about access specifier later. Inside the class, there is an integer variable my number and string variable my string. When variables are declared with a class, they are called attributes, right? At last, end the class definition with a semicolon. Create an object. In C++, an object is created from a class. We have already created the class named myClass, so now we can use this to create objects. To create an object of myClass, specify the class name followed by the object name. To access the class attributes my number and my string, use the dot syntax on the object. Okay. Create an object called myObject and access the attributes. So class myClass public integer my number string my string. Okay. So integer my number string my string, integer main my class my object, right? Create an object of my class. So my object dot my number equals 15, my object dot my string equals some text. Okay. So count C out. So I hope you understand this, guys. Okay. So this is the main this is our my class, and this my object, okay. So this my object is an object of this class, right? So now this my object can access all the attributes and objects of this my class, right? So my object dot my number equals 15, my object dot my string equals some text. So we will get here 15 in some text, right? Multiple objects, you can create multiple objects of one class. Create car public string brand string model integer year integer main car object 1 car object 1 dot brand BMW 1 dot model year this one object 2. So see out car object 1 dot brand. Yeah, Baba. I hope you also get this example, right? So in simple examples, programming is not hard, but when you go for real hard thing, like this. Okay, challenge task: create a class called book with the following attributes: title, string author, string integer year. Okay, expected output Matilda. Okay, so I hope. Okay, drag and drop the correct term to complete the sentence. Integer C++. A class is like a for creating objects. A class is like a blueprint for creating objects. What is the rule of a class in C++? To perform calculation within a program, to define a template or blueprint to creating objects, to handle file operations. So create a class called my class. Okay. Create an object of my class called my object. How do you access attributes of an object in C++? How do you access attributes of an object in C++ using the attribute name directly? How do you access attributes in an object in C++ using the attribute using the dot operator with the object name? True or false? You can create multiple objects of one class. You can create multiple objects of one class. Create an object of my class called my object and use it to set the value of my number to 50. Okay. These are main my class my object. Okay, my object dot my num. Guys, we are not used to it. Okay. My class my object my object my num is 15. To answer my object my number 15. Anyway. Classes, objects, class methods. C++ class methods. C class methods are functions that belong to the class, right? Methods are functions that belongs to the class. There are two ways to define functions that belongs to a class. Methods are functions that belong to the methods are functions that belongs to the class. There are two ways to define functions that belong to a class: inside class definition, outside class definition. Define a method inside the class. In the following example, we define a function inside the class and we name it my method. Your access methods, just like your access attributes, by creating an object of the class and using the dot syntax. Okay, inside the example, class my class public void my method function defined inside the class my method and see out hello world. Okay, methods are functions that belong to a class. There are two ways to define functions that belong to a class: inside class definition, outside class definition. Define a method inside the class. In the following example, we define a function inside the class and we name it my method. Okay. Your access method class okay. My class public void my method. Okay. My class dot my object my method. Define a method outside the class. Sometimes it is better to declare the method in the class and define it later, especially in large programs. This is done by specifying the name of the class followed the scope resolution operator followed by the name of the function. Class my class public void my method. Okay, void my class my method see out hello world. Okay, my class my object my object dot my method. Okay, my class my object dot my method returns 0. Parameters, you can also pass values to methods just like regular functions. Include IOStream using namespace std, class car public, integer speed, integer max speed, right? Mm, okay, integer car speed, integer max speed, return max speed, tuition. Okay, so speed tuition. Like, okay, guys. For object-oriented programming, we have to be really careful, and we have to practice them again, right? So we will, in the next video, we will try to whatever we've seen, we will try to type them, and we will try to be used to with the syntaxes, right?